One of my businesses had its best year on record. Best turnover we'd ever done, and it paid me less than the year before. The accounts couldn't explain it. My accountant could explain it actually, but getting me paid more was never his job. It's nobody's job, and that's the problem. So this episode is exactly what it says on the tin. How to pay yourself as a business owner, the actual order that I use. Okay, the order that I use now from years of learning what pays you the most. And I use this in my own companies and with the 100+ owners I've worked with and coached previously. Because almost everybody has this backwards. You've been taught to grow the business and hope your pay just falls out the other end. Well, it doesn't. By the end of this, you'll really understand how to get paid from your business instead. Because it's a real shame that a lot of business owners go into business, work so hard, all this hustle mentality, and not actually get paid. Remember, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but you went into business to get paid, not to just create a busy job. I'm Dr. Lewis Hayden. This is the Mental Business Podcast. What owners learn too late, taught early. Let's sort your pay slip out. So let's start with why your pay was never actually in the plan. You see, the business is like a queue. Yeah, look at the P&L. You've got at the top of the P&L, you've got the income that you receive, the revenue into the business, not your personal income, the business's revenue, its turnover. Then you have all your cost of goods or cost of service, the variable costs. What that means is everything that it costs when you take a job on or a piece of work on, what does it cost you to deliver that work? Then you're left with your operating profit. And then you've got your overheads, all the salaries, all the bills to pay, the properties that you might own. All this comes out. And then you've got the tax at the end of it. So you've got to pay the staff, you've got to pay the suppliers, you've got to pay the tax man. And then, well, that's what you left in the bank. Okay. Now, the remainder there is ultimately the number that's left is the cash that you can pay yourself a dividend. Now, remember, the lie that we've been told through school is that to get a high income, you need to be taught how to learn how to get good time for money. So you learn a high income skill and then you go out and you get paid a lot of money for it. But as a business owner, it's different. And the reason it's different is the business owners, when you're creating a business, you don't want to be stuck to time for money. You need to be thinking leverage. What does leverage mean? You put a system in place, you hire somebody for it and you delegate it. It takes some support first to get that person in place. You may need to step into the coaching or directing box if you want to increase performance or be really directive and just tell people what to do. There's hundreds of different variants, thousands of different variants for different businesses. And if I could sit down with every one of you and figure that out, I would. But I can't. I'm on a podcast to get to a lot of people. Okay. So you need to make this specific for your business. Now, if you were to do everything and you have this mentality of if you want it done right, you need to do it yourself, well, you're falling yourself into a big trap because it's time for money and there's only 24 hours in the day. So you can charge more for your time, which works for some people. But as a business owner, you want to be able to get leverage. Okay. Now, what that means is that to get leverage, you need to spend money to make money, i.e., hire somebody or pay for someone to help you. Yeah, that's what we're doing is we're paying for help. When we pay for help, we can now spread and not just have our 40, 50, 60 hours in our own business. We now double our hours. Yeah, so you've got 80 hours. You hire somebody else, you've now got 120 hours. And this is the idea of scaling a business. And without this, then you can't scale because you're just limited to time. Now, we've been taught to get paid that we should just look for a bigger job and for more income, right? We go to university and we learn how to get more higher income. But as a business owner, when you have a lot of leverage, you're not getting paid for your time for money anymore as a salary. You can increase your salary, but it's not the right mindset to have. Because if you're increasing your salary, you're still thinking about spending hours in that business, which ultimately won't pay you because, well, how many hours have you got? Yeah. And how much of a salary can you really take before you start to get taxed on income tax quite a lot? Now, I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm just here to give you experience from what I've witnessed When you become a high income earner, you want to be able to use that income in different ways. Okay. So the way a business owner gets paid is through dividends. What a dividend is that when there's money left over from the P&L and you've made profit and there's cash in the bank and the taxman has been paid, that's the money that's left over to pay you or your business's growth. And of course, if you pay for the business's growth, you can pay yourself more money in the future as it grows and scales. So here's the lie that people have told us: grow the business. I can grow your business for you. You know, I see it from a lot of coaches out there already. I'm like, yeah, look, I'm not just a coach, I'm a business owner as well, an entrepreneur. I own multiple companies, as you all may know. And I sit in both seats. And I get approached by a lot of coaches all the time because they just see director and CEO on my LinkedIn. And the same message is there. Let me help you grow your business. Let me help you grow your business. And if this is something that people fall for just growing a business and thinking that the outcome of getting paid more is really going to happen, then it's delusional. It's denial. So you're better off having $1 million business that pays you $200K per year rather than a $10 million business that pays you $100K per year. You see, it's not the revenue, it's the profit that's being generated. Now, a lot of business coaches will say, okay, well, we just generate more profit, then that's simple. Just because the profit there doesn't mean that you're okay to pay yourself, right? So why is that? Well, what tends to happen is when profit gets generated, you start to grow the business and the business just starts to grow anyway. And it's building around you and it's building this beast. And unless that beast is controlled by a proper management team, which takes away the profit, then guess what happens? The business starts to fall apart. And even though there could be profit 1 month or even for the 1 year, what's to say it's going to be there the year after? Because remember, business is a roller coaster. Businesses have good summers and winters. And I'm not talking about the weather outside, or the place or the location of the earth around the sun. Businesses have seasons. So this is why a lot of business owners don't get paid. So what do we do about it, right? For my story, we had the best revenue year ever, but that come at a lot of chasing sales, having a lot of workforce, spending a lot of marketing, spending a lot of money to go out there and generate this income. And then what happens is that we're paying a lot of suppliers. There's a manufacturing company, for example, you're paying a lot of suppliers. If it's a resource-based or service-based, you're paying a lot of people, you're paying a lot of bonuses. And this is the worst. For the businesses that I coach that are service-based, you have this invisible cost, and that is called bonus. Because it's okay saying, yeah, you're going to get a bonus if you get this. And what you're actually seeing is that, well, if I pay this person this much money and give them bonus, I've still got some money left. But if you don't understand your numbers and where that money actually goes within your business, there's no money left in the bank to actually pay you. Okay. So there needs to be some good rules in place. Know your numbers and understand what actually pays you. And it's not just as simple as going through and looking at the P&L. Nothing is simple when humans are involved. There's so many variables. There's problems that can go wrong. So what do you do? So how do business owners actually get paid? Let's review it. The 3 routes: salary, dividends. They are hours back, the one that nobody really counts, okay? You've got to start to think about this. How can you start to get paid from the hours that you've put in and make sure that it's the best use of your time? So we're now going for the dividend route instead. And where most owners fall down is that they have no structure at all. Pay is just ad hoc, okay? Whatever's left over. So here's what you need to do. You've got to stay intentional. Start with your number first, okay? The business owners that get paid, they understand that they have a goal to achieve, and it's not about, I'm going to grow a $1 million business or a $10 million business or a $100 million business. What's the point? What's the point in growing a business like that? Think about the life that you want to live. What is your number? So if you've got the 100K per year playbook, this is in there. We need to understand what your goals are first. You'll see 2 lists in there: your bucket list and your fuck it list. Yeah. The things that you want to achieve and the things that are the non-negotiable, never will want to happen ever. Yeah. And that second list is really important because the bucket list is easy to do. Okay. So once you've got this, you triangulate it against a target of where you want to get to. That has a cost. All this stuff has a cost on your bucket list. This is understanding your number. So if your number is that you need enough money to be able to achieve all your dreams, which could be the dream house, the dream car, the trips with the family, the lifestyle that you want to live on a day to day. I mean, do you want to be rushing around being on phone calls all day and never see the children, or do you want to actually have a lifestyle where, you know, people are different? So you've got to understand what your ideal week looks like. Yeah, humans aren't generic. I'll keep saying that over again because it is the core root to every problem in business. Is that everything was generic, then we could just do, here's a model, follow it, easy done. Okay, we won't go into that, but that is in other sessions as well. So understanding this then, how do business owners actually get paid? Have that number in mind. You've got your bucket list. How much does it all cost? How much does the house cost? Yeah, how much does the holiday home cost? How much does the car cost? How much does the boat cost? Yeah, with a lot of people, the people's goals move from owning Rolls Royce Wraiths to, you know, I'm quite happy with just my little house in a village somewhere. But what I do want is be able to spend time and have freedom. And some questions that I may ask as a coach is, well, you don't need me then because you've already achieving that. What you need to do is just sort your shit out and start spending more time with your family and being so occupied by the business. And it's a very short coaching session. Well, engagement. It could last like 6 or 9 months for them to just achieve what they're already achieving, but not enjoying it. Okay, so you've got to know your number. If that person that I've just mentioned knew their number, they would realize that there's no point growing their business. Yeah, so I'm not here to take people's money. I'm here to just say, look, you need a bit of a wake-up call here. Go and spend some time with your kids. Why are we growing business in the first place? So what do we need to do? We need to understand that number. You're obviously watching this right now because you want to know how to get paid more in your company. What I'm saying is start with the end in mind. Get that number right. How much is it? Do you need $1 million? Do you need $10 million? Is $10 million just vanity because you want to like say, oh, 10 million sounds cool? Why do you want $10 million? What's your why behind it? I don't want to be cliche, but you need to understand that why. What's 10 million actually going to give you? It's just a fund. It's not a fund. It's just currency that's sitting in your bank. Most millionaires don't have $1 million in the bank. They own $1 million worth of assets. In fact, becoming a millionaire isn't that difficult when you're growing a business and you've got assets worth $1 million. So what's the real goal? Is it the ego and having that label? Maybe it is. Is it to actually fund your dream? Is the dream about just having some houses and cars and holidays? Or is the dream about having that ideal life? This shapes the work that you do in your business. And a lot of people that I've sat down and coached, the funny thing is, they've gone, Lewis, I wish I'd have had this conversation 30 years ago. And it gets a little bit sad then, because they think about all the Christmases that they've spent not being present. They think about all the times that that people have got older and, dare I say, that they've lost people around them now. 30 years is a long time. And then they go, well, I can't change the past. What can I change now? And the turning point is from that conversation. And this is the real conversations that we need to be having with real business owners. And I don't feel that the academic world really teaches this stuff about getting deep into reason and why behind why people do what they do. And that was my main purpose of my study, and why it says doctor on here is there's a lot more drivers to people. Yeah. Having this work-life satisfaction is a big driver. It's part of my research, by the way. Yeah. So have a think about it. I'm going to slow down a little bit now. Have a real think about what do you want to actually get paid. Let's talk about the big ambition goals that do cost a lot of money. Let's say you do want the Lamborghini. You do want to have the holidays. You want to be going 2 or 3 times a year. Well, you then got a time problem in your business. So the business definitely needs to work without you or operate without you whilst you're away. Maybe you want to invest more time into your work and you don't want less time. Maybe you enjoy traveling with work. maybe you enjoy the hustle, you still need to get paid for it. Okay. So what's your number? It's in the 100K per year playbook. If you want that, then you know what to do. It's on my TikTok. It's on my Instagram. You can just go and search it on there. It's always been spoken about. So, right. Not here to promote that. I'm here to promote how you actually get paid. Right. Let's pin your number. How much should you pay yourself? Start with the end in mind, the life number. What's your number? Then cascade it. Your words. All right. Here they are. Remember these: pay, profit, margin, revenue, price. Okay. How much do you want to get paid? What's the number? If you want to have a home, $1 million home, $2 million home, you need $2 million. Well, you don't need $2 million. You need to have the deposit for it and show the level of assets and income that you get, and you need to have good bank lending. How many YouTube videos tell you that? You want a $2 million house? Oh, you need $2 million. No, you don't. You don't. You need a large deposit, and you need proof of income of being a high earner. And you need good relationships with banks and lending. That's the reality. And that might not sound sexy. It may not ever be an Instagram reel, but that's the reality that people need to hear. Okay? Let's cascade it again, right? So you got your pay, you know your number. You need to make $10 million, maybe, right? How are you going to pay yourself $10 million over 10 years? Well, it's $1 million every 10 years, every year for 10 years. Or you start off at 100K now, the plan next year is 200K, and the plan after that is 500K, and then $1 million, then 2 million, then 3 million. Yeah, that you pay yourself out in dividends, right? Or you take that money, you put it into other businesses, and you have a plan for 10 years of how you're going to invest in different businesses or property. Yeah. Here's what we do then. Where does that money come from the current business that you own? It comes from your profit, not rocket science. You've got to have profit in there. Where does profit come from? It comes from your margin. Now, people don't understand there's a difference between profit and margin. You don't get profit without margin. And if you break down one of these 5 things that I speak about right now and just focus on where is the constraint in one of these, you will make more money. Yeah? Got to stop with the big claims, Lewis, right? This is where they are, though. Okay? Go and look at one of these, and your business will start to open up a constraint where you'll start to make more money. That's better, right? Because everyone's different. I can't just say you're going to make more money, because I don't know if you're going to watch this and go, oh, your Lewis has said do this, and then you go away and do it and it didn't work, and then it's sort of blame Lewis. And it's like, no, blame you. I'm not going to swear that much on this episode. Promise to not do it anymore. I'm Dr. Lewis Hayden. Of course I'm going to fucking swear. People are different. Again, humans aren't generic. Just because you learn something, someone could go out and put it 10x effort in. Someone could put 0.1x effort in, right? There's a lot of variables in human behavior. And that's why when I say stuff like this, it all depends on the person. But I'm giving you the strategy here. Go and look at these 5 areas: the pay, the profit, the margin, the revenue, the price. What do you want to pay yourself? We spoke about that. Profit. Listen to my other podcasts, listen to my content. I tell you how to make more profit. Okay. Margins, knowing your number and knowing those percentages in those margins is what makes a difference to that profit. This is where a lot of business owners lose their money. This is why they don't make profit, because those margins are eating away at that bottom line. Revenue. This is where a lot of people think it all is. How do you do it? I mean, YouTube is absolutely saturated, and podcasts, Spotify and podcasts, absolutely saturated with how to make more money, how to create more revenue. What it's not saturated in is how to get paid from that revenue, right? Where the profit comes from, where the margin comes from. We can go and listen to loads and read all the books on it. I won't mention any names, but you know who I'm talking about. All the gurus out there. This is how you get more revenue. This is how you do this. This is how you do more marketing. This is how you do more sales. Great. And they're right. But they're not talking about how you get paid. You don't know what their income is. You know about how much Elon Musk, his company, makes. You don't know how much he gets paid. He's never going to know that because he's never going to share it with you. Yeah? Hormozy is never going to tell you how much exactly he got. He's never going to show you his bank balance, his personal bank balance. So he could say anything. I love the guy. I think he's great. But let's be real, right? There are a lot of people here, the gurus are showing you how to create more revenue. Listen to them and then some more. Who do you need around your boardroom table, your circle, to make sure that you are getting the right marketing, you are getting the right sales, you are doing the right operational stuff, you are getting the right margin, you are making profit? Let's be honest. If you're not paying yourself what you want right now, it's not working. It's not working. Why? Who are you listening to? And if you are listening to the right people, is it something in your behavior? Do you need to look in the mirror even more and reflect on what am I actually doing? Am I look, show me your diary. Show me your diary, your past diary or today's diary or your future diary, and I will tell you how much money you will get paid. This is how you spell pay. Diary. The time that you spend correlates to this behavior that you do, and the behavior correlates to the outcome that you get. If you spend a lot of time just reading books, just listening to podcasts, just doing more YouTube stuff, and it doesn't change your behavior, then all that learning doesn't actually apply to anything. Yeah, but Lewis, I'm listening to a podcast right now. Yes. And then go and do something with it. Your learning needs to be 10%. The execution needs to be 90%. I stopped going to massive workshops and seminars, one, because I was fed up of getting fucking sold to. And secondly, I knew what to do. Learning more stuff wasn't the problem. I listened to the regular podcasts. I listened to it whilst I drive. I mean, I can't work. Well, I can actually. I can make phone calls whilst I'm driving. But while the time I wasn't making phone calls, I was using it as a mobile library. Yeah, a mobile library, listening to the podcast, listening to audiobooks. And then as soon as I hit the ground running, it'd be execution time. Right, this is not learning time. This is execution time. And being your own boss means you've got to be disciplined. Really disciplined. Here's a question for you. Would you hire yourself? Would you hire yourself right now? Whether you've started a business or not started a business, you're thinking about starting a business, would you hire you? And if you were to hire you, would you expect to walk in the room every 90 minutes and see that person, that you doing? Would you hire yourself? Now think about that number we mentioned, $10 million, 100K in the first year, 500K in the second, third year. Would you walk into the room right today and go, yeah, that is a person who's going to be making 500 grand in my company in 3 years' time? The behavior correlates to the outcome. Okay? So let's pin that. How much should you be paying yourself? Depends on the behavior that you do. Okay? Remember that. The whole thing about the business and the strategy stuff, this is what the business coaches teach, bread and butter. And there's all sorts of systems and all sorts of plans. And whether it works or not, I'll be completely brutal with you. You can use any system that you want. They're all right. They will all make an impact. What won't make an impact is the person that's delivering it for you. If they're colluding with you because they're scared of losing a client, if they're colluding with you because they can't be challenging or they want to be happy, yeah, they don't want to have a challenging battle with a coaching call or something like that, it's not going to work. Because it's not the strategy that's the problem, it's the behavior. And remember that learning the strategy is part of the behavior as well, because you need to learn and you need to grow all the time. You need to be learning. But more learning times learning does not equal new result. Yeah? You've got to change that behavior. You've got to do different stuff to get a different result. So here's why you're not getting paid. What's your behavior like? What's your behavior around understanding where revenue comes from? about really getting to, here's what a business owner should be doing, right? 10% learning, 20% understanding their numbers day in, day out, and what the business is doing. The extra 70% needs to be in how do you build the systems, and then starting to delegate and hire and fire those people if they don't plan out. How do you keep them accountable? How do you manage them? How do you lead them until you hire a CEO or an MD? Yeah. So I've got businesses now that has MDs running it for me. So I'm here doing podcasts for you whilst those business MDs, yeah, are working away, managing those businesses, because that's just the tier that it got to, that then somebody else takes over. And you need to do the same, but not yet. So what do you do in the 70% until you get there? You get shit done. You do the stuff. Oh, Lewis, but you're saying that I need to automate, I need to delegate, and I need to just work on. No. If the system isn't built, right? This is going to be really controversial to every other coach that you've heard out there. You need to do the shit. You need to do it until you've got that system to the right place, that it is systemized and people are following it. Why? Because you need to understand what it takes. You need to understand the pitfalls in that role. You need to understand the shortcuts that you feel like taking that can lead to a pitfall, which most likely your employee, that when you're not watching, will take. You need to put that into a system. You need to build, oh, Lewis, but AI is going to take over. No. You need to build the AI and train it. I live on AI platforms, but I'm not just asking them stupid questions. I've trained them. They are like employees. If you want some help on that, by the way, reach out on LinkedIn, not TikTok, LinkedIn, for that sort of question. I can point you into the right stuff. In fact, comment on the YouTube video or Spotify, wherever you listen to it, AI and automation. I know the more comments that I get based on the sort of feedback that I get, then I will create more content on it. Look, I'm not here to create sexy videos and be a marketer on YouTube where there's lots of graphics and stuff. It's just me in front of a camera giving you raw information. And if that's what you want, go and find someone else's YouTube channel. If you want raw information of what works and get you paid, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Okay, so there's one more: price. Understanding your price. Really important. How do you price? Well, if you price wrong, then what happens is that you price yourself out the job. So you price cheaper, or you price like a competitor. And then what you're doing is being like them. So why would they pick you? And then your competitor just does it cheaper, race to the bottom. Yeah. So understanding your price. If you want a mystery shopper, by the way, then I've got somebody that's part of my team that can do a mystery shopper service for you as well. They will act as a mystery shopper and see how your team actually sell for you and how they deal with price objections. Why? Because when you discount by 5% or 10% your service, and you've got this P&L, these overheads, these costs of goods, if you're a manufacturing company, discounting is going to really, really screw with your numbers, and probably why you're not making money to pay yourself. Why does it happen? Because discounting is the easy way out. What's actually missing is the person doesn't know how to sell, or they learn how to sell and they think they know how to sell because they've done it for 20 years or 30 years. And discounting has always been in their strategy, or it might be in your strategy. You think you're a business owner that knows how to do stuff, but discounting is there. Now, is discounting something that you should always move away from? No, because discounting is something that people want to discount because they want to feel like they've won or they've got an extra thing. Remove the word discount. What are the actual feeling? Feeling like they've got more. Yeah, remove discount. What else is a feeling like they've got more? What about if you throw something in for them? What about if you give something away that makes it feel like it's $1,000, but it costs you $100, but it's valued at $1,000? You don't have to discount. What you need to do is get your team to improve their sales skills. There's podcasts and episodes on that. If you go back through all these podcasts and YouTube videos, you will see my videos on how to sell properly. And it's also in the 100K per year playbook. And of course, we've got some of the top mentors from mentorbusiness.com that can show you how to sell as well. All right. Right. Final question. What if the business can't afford to pay you? Okay. Well, it's not a dead end, it's a diagnosis. The one thing is capping it, right? Demand, conversion, delivery, people, or money. It sits in one of those areas. Remember I mentioned about the constraint before on the P&L? The constraint here of why this business might not be able to afford to pay you is because there's no demand for the business. You can't convert. You can't deliver what you say you're going to do. The people might be the issue, or the money, i.e., what we've just spoke about in this video, might be the issue. Okay. So there's one thing there. I'm not going to go into it in depth, but if you do want to speak to me further about it, you know what to do. I'm not here to pitch from the podcast. I'm here to just give you the information. One of those things is capping it. It's a constraint. Is it demand, conversion, delivery, people, or money? Yeah. If you've seen my paid loop model by now, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Remember, I'm here to get you paid. Everything else that's out there is there to grow a business. This is here to get you paid. Okay? Find the one thing, not 7. Not the next AI thing that's going to take over the world that you need to get working on tomorrow and it's a big distraction. And then in 3 months' time, you go in, fuck, there's no sales in the business. Distraction. In fact, most of my coaching sessions that I spend with people is like, stop looking over there. If I could imagine this, if you're listening, I'm literally like going, not literally physically, imagine getting some trouble there, but I'm turning their face in the direction that they should be going. I'm aligning them to that true North Star, because distraction over here, distraction over there, fire over here, bright shiny object over there. No, this is what North looks like. Okay. And if I could sit with every one of you and understand your journey, in fact, if you want to come on one of the podcasts and you feel brave enough to share your business, I will do some live coaching over the podcast and YouTube. So look, the way I see it is that you can help other people in your situation right now if you was up for a live coaching session via a podcast. Okay, so find that one thing, not 7. The pattern story from the coaching room. Look, there's no names. It's these bands only, right? So you get this same sort of band of things happen. You see them come through all the time. And it is always one of these areas. And people don't want to know that because they want to think their business is special and different. It's not. It really isn't. The certain thing happening in the business might be different because it's contextual to your business, but you remove that down to the actual theme that's happening, it falls into one of those areas. Time and time again, this is why people don't get paid. So how you route it then? So the pay is permanent. Remember the seasons in every business. The unrooted profit gets reabsorbed, profitable, and still you get paid last. The accountant will be going, oh, okay, well, you made a profit this year. Great. Well, how do I get paid? Oh, well, you don't want to pay yourself. You need to keep it in the business. Well, that's not enough profit then. Here's the thing. A lot of business owners will get the profit. Now you understand that it's about dividend. You need to have your dividend amount into your numbers of your business. If you want to make 100K, if you need to make that 500K in 3 years, if you need to make $1 million a year in 5 years' time so you can reach your 10 million income goal, then you need to put that into your numbers. And your accountant won't like that because it's not what they're there for. Yeah. Understand that what you pay yourself in your dividend needs to be in your financial budgeting and your plan. And if it's not, it will get paid last. And this is why you get paid last. Okay. So remember, fix it early. This doesn't shrink as you grow, it multiplies. And what do I mean by that? Think about getting paid last in a corporate business or a larger organization, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 5,000 people. If you've got this foundation of getting paid last, it's not just you that gets paid last. It's the C-suite. It's the shareholders get paid last. Yeah? Because everything else needs paying first. And then the taxman needs paying. And then what happens is there's no money for shareholders. So if you're part of an organization right now and you're going, oh, well, this doesn't apply to me because I'm not an SME, it applies to you even more than ever because the paid last has just gone throughout your business and you've accepted it. The shareholders are pissed off. Yeah, they want more. So what do? They step in. They get consultants in. They start to look over every little thing that's happening. They want to know where their share is and where their money is. They start making redundancies. They don't start doing mergers. They get fed up of being a shareholder. And this is me as well. I get fed up of being a shareholder, of losing businesses. And I'm like, right, I'm going to have to step in here now to give you some blunt advice because you've gone and done it and it hasn't worked. Imagine that in a big, large corporation business. Yeah. It's going to lead to a lot of trouble. So if this hit home, sit with the question, what's your number? The pay the business should be giving you. Message me it. Drop it in the comments. If you don't feel comfortable dropping the comments, then LinkedIn. Add me on LinkedIn. Drop me a message. Just let me know what your number is. What is that pay number that you deserve? Every conversation I have always starts here, okay? They message me, they see me, they get fed up. People hang around for 3, 6, 9 months. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's just what it takes until the penny drops that it's not working for them. And I need to reach out and speak to Lewis. Yeah. So, yeah, why wait? That's the question I have. Why did you wait 6 months? Well, I thought it was going to get better. Definition of insanity, right? So if you know an owner whose business pays everyone but them, tell them to talk to Dr. Lewis Hayden. That sounds like a good little, I might keep that. Tell them to talk to Dr. Lewis Hayden if you know an owner. Better call Sol. No, we're not going that route at all. So this has been the Mental Business Podcast. What owners learn too late, taught early.